Buddy V's Fighters to Watch.
All right. I guess we can start it off with the last first last Yankee of the Brit. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
And leave it to me to do the wrong intro, guys. One of those days already. My bad. Yeah, we're just starting this off great already. We're waiting on our guest, so hopefully that happens. But we were all just talking before we came on, so let's just hit the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the Oscars, which I would have not even known were happening if Will Smith wouldn't have pulled a bitch-ass move, got up on stage and smacked one of the greatest comedians in the history of comedy, Chris Rock.
It's just the most famous punch of the 2020s so far. I mean, we're calling it a punch. It was a slap. Let's be real.
The slap heard around the Oscars.
Yeah, fuck me. If I get slapped by Will Smith, then I'm calling it a punch straight away. I've seen a lot of people saying that it's fake. That shit ain't fake. Definitely not. Definitely not.
There was Tom Segura, the comedian, was pissed off today, and a lot of comedians are pissed off. I don't think it was fake. I know people are like, he trained for Ali. Like this is my thought. And anybody you disagree, that's fine. But I thought when he got up, well, first of all, let's talk about how he laughed. And then as soon as Jada got pissed off, he got pissed off. But then he walks up there. I think he was going to punch him. And I think he changed his mind and gave him this weird slap where his foot, because they're like his footwork, he trained for Ali. I think he changed his mind and slapped him. And okay, we're a YouTube show, so I can say this. Keep my wife's fucking name out your mouth. What about the dude who had his dick in your wife and you had no problem with it?
Right? Absolutely. Exactly. I mean, you want to sit there and back it up and, don't make jokes about my wife. Don't this, don't that. Really? Because she was strutting around with the man that was given to her, and she not only you care about her, you have to defend her. But it's a two-way street, right? What about all the time she humiliated you in public, said how she had an affair on you, said how you haven't even made her orgasm in how long? I mean, that's just like, you're talking about getting a guy and hitting him where it's low. That's one of the lowest blows you could do. So, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, where I want to kind of take this from is, so you guys have very rightly pointed out the whole, what about the dude who's got, is this not just the mental brain that Will Smith?
Oh, Maddie froze up.
Yeah. I'm back. Cool.
Isaac
seems I'm back. Jada ruined that man. Yeah. So it's this extent of the mental breakdown that Will Smith is having, where he's now got up and he was laughing, and then he sees his wife not so happy and thinks, oh God, she's been saying I'm not a man. She's been cheating on me because she thinks I'm not a man. Shit, I've got to go prove it now. Because although Chris Rock has apologized for the joke because it's down to a medical condition that he definitely know about, it's just, they're the kind of jokes that we seem to tell at the Oscars. They're the kind of jokes that, like when Ricky Gervais is hosting the Oscars, nobody's getting up and punching Ricky Gervais, and he said much worse things than that.
Right. I have to ask this, and buddy, you're a fighter, so this is a good way to come at you. You can come from a different point of view. I'm not a fighter, but I grew up in the 90s. We fist fought, that's what we did in school. But guys are trained now, so I ain't trying to get a fight at a gas station because either you're MMA trained or you carry a gun. So whatever you say, my guy, we're good. But you come up on stage and smack me. I'd rather have you punch me because being smacked is so disrespectful, right? Me and Will Smith are rolling around on that stage and fighting. And I have to say this. I truly believe if that was TJ Kirkland, if that was Tracy Morgan, if that was DL Hughley, there's no way he throws that slap.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at it, there has to be a reason why he's a little bit bigger than Chris Rock. Like you said, he trained for Ali, so he feels confident to do that. Had it been somebody else, I feel like he would not have got up there. He would have just let it slide, or he would have just kind of bit his tongue. But because of who it was, I think he felt comfortable enough to be able to go up. And I feel like I said, because of who it was, he also knows there might not be the same repercussions as, like some people you said, they're going to sit there and punch him back. Or with it being at the Oscars, he knows it's not going to escalate because then that could possibly, ruin Chris Rock's career as well. So it's like, were you really that tough? Because why would it happen behind closed doors if you did that?
Yeah, it's kind of like the thing which I've seen going around, and I don't totally agree with it, but it's fucking funny. Jada's pissed off because Tupac would have shot him. Is one of my
I posted
like
that.
yeah. I've seen that going around. I saw you posted, Jen. I was like, damn, that shit's funny, but I'm not putting that on my own timeline because I'm not sure whether
Right.
it's true. But, yeah, I mean, fuck me. People have had Will Smith side, and what's going on with this Jada situation is destroying the mystique that Will Smith has. It's kind of tearing apart of his bit of his legacy. Think of Will Smith from I Am Legend.
Well,
he's not slapping, like he's not fucking slapping Chris Rock for telling a G.I. Jane joke, is he really?
I gotta be completely honest. So the 2 nights ago, I'm sitting up, getting ready to go to, figuring out I should go to bed. And I'm flipping through the cable channels, and there's The Matrix, the second one. Is that Reloaded? Whatever, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as Jada came on it, I was like, I can't watch this shit because I was so annoyed about what happened with. And I know we're beating up on Will Smith, but like that girl sucked the life out of this dude in the sense.
Yeah.
Since we all started focusing on them since the pandemic, and nobody had better shit to worry about than Jada and Will's relationship. Yeah. I don't think any of us really care about their relationship, but it's like, man, I don't know, man. It's kind of dragged her through the mud too, because I don't even want to see her on shit at this point because I get irritated. And it's not just a woman who cheats on a man thing. I just hate the idea of like, you made some kind of commitment to somebody and then you just do them dirty.
So,
and Maddie froze up on me. I thought I was going to be the one with the technical difficulties today, Maddie.
I was gonna say, have you guys seen the video going around recently of it showed Will Smith when he was on a talk show when he was younger. He made fun of a bald guy who was one of the musicians on the side, and it turns out the guy had a disease and he was bald. And he was like, "Oh, I bet you wax your head," and blah blah blah. And the host told him, he's like, "Oh, well, calm down. It's just a joke, man. No need to get riled up over it." I was like, "Oh."
I know. I think we're in a weird time for comedy now where we're all becoming more respectful of like people's diseases, people's difficult situations. We're all becoming more respectful and we're becoming a better society with it. We also need to remember that sometimes you've got to tell a bit of comedy, and maybe the coach that we now have on screen, who is our guest today, would have been able to coach Will Smith how to slap the shit out of Chris Rock and knock that dude out.
How's it going, boys?
I just want to
Excellent.
Hey, man, how's it going?
We are so excited to talk to you, Coach TC. Thank you for giving us your time, man.
Sorry for the tardiness. I was on a call.
No worries.
Happens, right?
I'm gonna grab my headphones. I think this will work a little bit better.
All right.
Buddy V!
What's up, Coach Thomas? How's it hanging today? Little delay. Yeah. Glad to have you on. I was excited.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Good question. Yeah.
We've got you.
Good stuff.
We can hear you. Can you hear us? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Oh, much more clear with these things on. Yeah. What were we talking about? The slapper
Smith
around the world?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a minute, right?
Man. You
The
want
most
my input?
meme slap of all time.
Do you think it was real?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. The slap is a weak slap because he's an actor, not because it wasn't real. He threw the slap like he's been trained to throw an actor's slap.
Right.
And by all accounts, for the last 50 years of his life, he's been nothing but a high character, great guy that's never hit anybody before. So why would you, why would you slap somebody? Yes, of course, he was trained boxing for Ali. Everybody gets that. But he wasn't going up there to knock him out with the fucking right hand. He went out there to just make a point. He went out there to impress his toxic queen is what he went to do.
Right.
That's and that's the bottom line. Yes, I think we all understand that he's been emotionally destroyed the last 10 years, but you're responsible for your actions no matter how you feel. And if there was a grown-up capable of defending himself up there, not a small, weak friend of his of 30 years, then he wouldn't have assaulted him. He did it because he saw a victim and an opportunity, and he was just destroyed emotionally so much by we know that situation that was he felt, oh man, the recourse. I mean I don't know if you have, but I know I have been with some toxic women before, and that's just how it happens, right? Like typically if your woman wants you to fight for them, then you shouldn't be with them. You know what I mean? Like a real woman would have stopped their man from ruining their life, not from doing. A real woman wouldn't say my king defends me with violence. I've been around violence my whole life. I don't. That is exactly the opposite of what a real man or a real woman wants from their man. Exactly the opposite.
Jay,
So before we get into questions,
started...
guys, hold on, Maddie. So because I don't know if everybody knows who Coach is, but Coach coaches some of the biggest killers at the scrapyard. He's a coach for, if I get anybody wrong, let me know. Jabberwocky, Viking Warrior, Jay Gotham, Crazy Legs. I think I can keep going, but if I missed anybody,
Dre, Ant. Showtime's been with us lately, yes, sir.
Yeah, you got straight killers over there, man.
Hey, buddy, I know you got a lot of questions for him, so why don't you start and then we'll go.
Actually, I got a handful of them. Yeah. My first one, I am curious. I've never actually been able to personally ask you. How long have you had training for Warriors?
I've had training for Warriors and been involved with them and that network of great coaches worldwide for 7 years now.
Nice. That's killer. And you produce, like you said, you produce killers. I've seen people that when they go to your gym, I mean, they improve incredibly. They have nothing but great things to say. Is it nice to be able to hear that you have such a prestigious gym, that all your hard work, I mean, nobody has nothing negative to say. Anybody that's TFW has 100% positive things.
I really appreciate that for sure, because I don't always not necessarily get that feedback, but that's not exactly what I look for. You know what I mean? I just look to create that environment and that's the biggest thing that I've always stood very firm towards, and I won't waver on at all. No egos, only dedication, right? So anybody, I don't care how talented you are, or potential or whatever that's supposed to mean, all that kind of stuff. If you're not coachable and willing to work hard, I don't want anything to do with you. And because of your attitude, right? Your attitude is going to be everything. That's why Buddy V, like you're a phenomenal member to any squad. You're not 6'5", you're not Epic Tan's athleticism or Jay Gotham, you know what I'm saying? But because of your attitude, I mean, you're Rudy pretty much, right?
Yeah,
there it is. Right? So it's like that attitude is contagious, and that's the exact type of attitude and vibes that you need all the time, So it's just important to constantly have people around that know that even though this is an individual game, it's a team cooperative environment, you know what I'm saying? At all times. So just making sure that everybody is here to work together. We train hard and we train intelligently. And if you're not on the same page, even in terms of your goals, right? If some people are here just to be famous on YouTube and others want to be in the UFC, that's radically different training styles, Yeah. And we got to just make sure that's where I come into play, and making sure that, hey, if some people's goals don't fit here, right? And that doesn't mean you're a bad person or I'm a piece of shit or anything like that. It just means you don't fit here, and it is what it is. And luckily I know lots of great coaches that, have a huge variety of people that they work with. So I can say, hey, boom, Buddy V, I think you're going to be badass right here. This is my boy's spot right there, down the road, this kind of thing, right? It just depends on, not everybody's for everybody, and that's okay,
I'm still itching to get to that gym, man. I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm like,
we'll make it happen.
I was the biggest thing, like you said, was attitude going in. You need a lot of heart and a lot of will to be a fighter, to be able to push your body to limits of pain that you never thought was possible. As a coach, is it hard being able to teach people to push past their limits and kind of like just make that line disappear so you can see the the endless possibility of growth? Or is it like, do you kind of have like a technique to where it's pretty easy now?
Nothing's easy. It's simple maybe, yes, but definitely not easy, and understanding the difference between those two is critical in any sort of growth, really, because a lot of people miscue challenging and hard, right? Something could be very
Yeah.
challenging and be very simple. You know, those are not the same thing, right? Like it doesn't have to be, if it's hard, it's complex. That's something completely different. You know, maybe a way to explain this is one of my coaches, and this isn't for everybody, and this isn't a scale that I use for everybody. I use this pretty much for nobody but myself, to be honest. And that's because I'm just much more of a straightforward, blunt person, and that's how I like being spoken to, and that's how I like learning. And I understand as a coach that not everybody likes that, you know. So and they're not really going to vibe that kind of thing. But one of my coaches taught me a long time ago, hey, if something doesn't happen, there's only two reasons, right? You're either stupid or you're too lazy, you know? And I'm like, and if, again, first time you hear that, you're like, well, wait a minute, that sounds kind of crazy. What do you mean? Well, stupid or lazy is pretty simple. Like there's nothing else stopping you, right? Did you physically not do the task that you were intelligently capable enough to do? Okay, so you're lazy. Well, I can't help you then. You know, I can't teach you to not be lazy, right? But if you didn't do it because you were stupid, right? Again, that's an aggressive word these days, but too ignorant or just too lacking knowledge of the procedure necessary to get the task done, then me as a coach, I can fix that. I can fill that gap every day.
Yeah.
You know, so as long as you're willing to learn, but first willing to understand that you don't know, that's the most important part. Then we can move forward with anybody. I just can't go put a battery in your ass. No matter how many backflips you're able to do, I can't make you train hard. You know what I mean? Like I can't make you learn these skills, right? That's why we still see so many people going out to the yard that aren't advancing in their skills, but they're fighting every single month. You know, because they're just and no disrespect to any of these guys, right? They're just in it, they're just doing different things, you know what I'm saying? They're
Exactly.
And you see it from both sides. You see people that don't have very good athleticism at all fighting every single month without training. And then you see people that have great athleticism fighting every month without training. Some of that's their lifestyle, some of that's their decisions, you know what I mean? But I think as men, a lot of that is still our ego, you know? Like we might train hard enough to fuck around and find out what our limitations are, you know? And a lot of us as men don't want to know what our limitations are, you know? It's much easier to pretend I don't have those limitations, you know?
Yeah,
in
the classroom we call it. Sorry.
Right.
We call it a positive. We call it a positive learning environment. That's what it's called when it's like teacher teaching history. It's called a positive learning environment. It's basically somewhere something set by relentless routine, and then kids who you've got in front of you who are willing to participate in those relentless routines that you've got set out. And you can walk into classrooms where the teacher or the coach has set out those routines for them to follow, and it creates a positive learning environment. And you can guarantee their routines, everybody's participating in the lesson on that, again, higher grade. It's not about how many kids sat there copying out notes the entire time. It's about them participating in their own learning. You can't teach kids how to like have the attitude to want to learn. And it's the same way in sport, where you've got to have the attitude to want to learn. You've got to look for the best ways to learn your technique, and you've got to have those relentless routines in your own mind to get better at the sport. And obviously everything comes better with practice, you know. You can't really simulate getting punched in the face until you get in the face. Is my favorite thing. You can't get in ribs for a rugby tackle. Ribs for a rugby tackle is one of the better sayings as well.
I missed that saying at the end there. What was that one?
Just getting cracked in the ribs by a rugby tackle is, you don't know that until you've been cracked in the ribs by a rugby tackle. You've never felt that before.
There you go. One of my students has been taking me to we got a new fairly new pro rugby league up here, or pro rugby team up in Seattle. One of my students has been taking me to a couple games. So I'm just getting into the rugby vibe, but man, those are some behemoths, you know.
It's the shit, man. It's the shit.
Dude, it's pretty exciting. One of my good friends is named Luca Hoshavar, runs one of the best training gyms in the world in Renton called Bigger Ground. And he's the shout out Luca. He's the strength and conditioning coach for the Seawolves out here, the Seattle Seawolves. So there's some fast, big boys out there. You know, it's unbelievable. even the small guys have just tree trunk legs, and they're still 215 pounds. You know, it's like holy cow. You know, like their upper body looks 160 and their lower body's 240, right? Like holy shit! Everybody out there just has legs on them. Right?
The French
But no, you're right, and that's where and that's where Training for Warriors really comes into play. Like I didn't invent this program. Training for Warriors is designed by Coach Martin Rooney, who's been training combat athletes for 30 years. You know, he trained Roger Gracie and Renzo Gracie's fight team in the early 2000s, went to Japan and whatnot. You know, he's best friends with Todd Hayes, who fought Hickson Gracie in the documentary Choke. Watch the documentary Choke. You'll see Todd Hayes in there. You know, he had the pleasure to meet him. Great guy, pro fighter in the 90s and whatnot. So it's like Training for Warriors and this fight system and squad has been in my life for a long time, a long time. And what Training for Warriors is now is a strength and conditioning specialty. You know, so we focus on building just the better machine in any aspect, right? What I've been able to do, and what a lot of Training for Warriors affiliates around the world do, is they just also have a combat background. You know, like Rose Whitley in Austin, who runs a badass combat program with her Training for Warriors system. And sorry that I'm missing a whole bunch of you guys. Rory Singer from the Ultimate Fighter. My brother Rory, how you doing, buddy? He's badass. He runs the Training for Warriors Athens and the Straight Blast Gym out in Athens, Georgia. You know, so it's like we have this MMA connection along with Training for Warriors that's worldwide and rock solid because Coach Martin has such a deep understanding. You know, he was one of the first coaches, along with Joel Jamison, who I also have a good connection with up here in Renton, up here in Kent, and Jay Ferrugia. Pretty much, there was only we can name them. That's how many strength and conditioning coaches actually know how to coach an MMA athlete. I just named them. You know, these days there's two more, right? We got Phil Daru and you know, no, there's a lot more. No disrespect to the coaches these days, but. There's a lot more these days, but Martin was one of the originals, and he just continued to foster the program of nurturing an incredible athlete to be able to do things that they've never been able to do, like fist fight somebody else that wants to fist fight you back for 15 minutes. You know,
Well, Coach,
that's a pretty big challenge.
I got the most important question of the day for you because I know this is what everybody wants to know.
Boxers
So
agree.
is Viking Warrior's beard being gone kind of like Samson losing his hair, or are we still good?
No, he's going to be faster than ever. It was actually weighing him down quite a bit, you know, so now he's going to be able to that power is going to be elevated. You're going to see a totally new Viking. He's 155 now. It was a lot thicker. It was a lot thicker than he looked. So I think he's going to be challenging Turtle after that beard's gone.
It helps with the wind resistance.
Exactly. His head movement is going to be filthy. Like, you guys wait. You just wait.
And what do we got to do to keep this guy fighting longer than a year?
I mean, we got to keep giving him people that have O's next to their names, you know? Like he was really looking forward to Wolverine, or no, not Wolverine. Who's the West Coast guy that got knocked out last month? Coyote.
Not 619. Okay.
No. 619 would be funny because be fun just because he's fatter, he's 50 pounds heavier, you know. But I mean, I hope they don't use that as an excuse for 619 to not take that fight because he's just chunky. You know, they're the same size. Yeah. If he was ripped like Viking, they'd be the same exact size, right? So that's not a real weight advantage at all. So Viking will take that 619 fight any day if they want it.
Yeah, are you talking about Coyote?
Yeah, Coyote, yeah. We were really looking forward to that fight, but he got knocked out, unfortunately, last month. So he doesn't want that one anymore. He wants somebody with an O next to their name.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. You know, he's been working his ass off for a year now. He deserves to fight people that have that higher level standing. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have to give everybody a chance just because they want to fight him. Everybody wants to be the one to be Viking, you know?
Right.
He was really looking at Bad News, but Bad News was just killing it and went pro. So great. Congrats to Brent.
Yeah, he was a killer. Yeah, he's finishing people off left and right. Yeah,
congrats to Bad News for sure. But Viking was really looking forward to that one. So he's looking to get to BLK Prime now. And whoever has that O that he can remove, that's where he wants to go.
We'll watch him fight anywhere. I don't care if Viking Warriors fighting in aisle 6 of the grocery store. I'm watching. So, I'm all excited for that. But, it kills me. I know that they're like brothers, but I kind of wish him and Jay Gotham weren't so close so I could see that fight. But
Hey, you can come
I
to Training for
see
Warriors every
training.
week and see that fight.
Yeah, we
They
see him.
train hard, I bet.
You ever wish you would have got Jay Gotham 10 years ago?
Oh man, I tell that kid that every day. You know, he's just the next level. He's just a next level athlete. You know, and I mean, if you saw his brother out there, that I can't remember who his brother fought to, but man, that guy's absolutely the same. His athleticism is just unbelievable. And now, as a grown man, his mindset is unbelievable. You know, so absolutely, if he would have put his life into athletics, whether it was basketball, he said he's a phenomenal. I've never seen him hoop, but he says he's a phenomenal basketball player too. You know, like if he would have just dove into athletics in his teens, absolutely, this guy could be anything. I mean, he's honestly, and I've been around athletes again for a very, very long time, and you know, you didn't ask for my world history, but I trained in Thailand and whatnot. So I mean, I've seen a huge scale of high-level premier professional athletes, and Jay Gotham has the athleticism to match with any of them on the planet. He's one of these guys that if he really chose to just sacrifice and dig deep for 5 years, he would absolutely be one of these dudes that Dana doesn't like always giving contracts to, right? One of these late 30s guys that's dusting everybody, you know what I mean? Dana's like, God damn, man, I have to give him the opportunity because he's just smashing people, you know? And
Exactly.
he could 100% be somebody that makes it to that level, and not even in 5 years. I mean, I would give him 2 years, to be honest, because he's already evolved so much very part-time training in 1 year. You know what I mean? So it's like if somebody said, "Hey Jay, here's $4,000 a month. I want you to shut up and train," you know what I mean? Then yeah, he could make it to a high levels. You know.
I have to reverse here. I got to hear more about this training in Thailand.
Yeah, I'm curious about that
It was
too.
fun. It was a fun experience.
How did that come about?
Honestly, I wanted to train in Thailand since Bloodsport. You know, am I dating myself right there? Who watched who watched Kickboxer? You know, who saw Kickboxer and didn't want to go train in the trees with a little guy, right? Come on now. So I grew up on Bloodsport and Kickboxer and watched those religiously.
Oh, Jean-Claude Van Damme cut him off. Okay, there you go. He's back.
There you go. He's back.
Right?
Oh, you're on mute.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go.
God damn it.
We hear you. Oh. Way to drop out.
There we go.
Shit.
I mean,
He'll be
Please
back.
Hello.
Well,
There you go.
so
You're good.
fun.
hey, there we go.
I can't hear anything.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Testy,
Hear him?
1, 2, 3. Booty meat, booty meat.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Live
Can you hear me?
technical difficulties. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear
Yeah,
you.
we
I
hear
can't hear you guys at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't hear us, right? Yeah. That better. Did that
I'm gonna
work?
jump out real quick. I'll just jump out.
No worries.
Cool. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear about this Thailand story because who like I don't know a ton of people who went to Thailand and trained. Maybe you guys do, but I sure don't.
Yeah,
Actually,
not to
I
train.
don't know anyone.
Not to train. I mean,
That's like,
I was meant to be in Thailand right now. Well, not right now. Like a year ago, I was meant to be in Thailand, but obviously, COVID had other plans. But I definitely wasn't going to be training MMA. God, we've got some issues going on here, guys. Some technical problems. We'll get right back to you as soon as we can sort out these technical issues. Should we see if Buddy's good as well?
I'm back.
Back. I just told Buddy to log out and log back in.
Oh man,
He's
you guys are
okay.
in slow motion, like you're all on mushrooms.
We're in
I'll log out
slow-
real quick.
We're just eating mushrooms while
Jesus.
doing the show. That's
You're all in slow motion.
Oh God. Oh no. This has gone terribly.
that's live. That's live, Maddie. That's what happens when you're
Son of a
live.
This is live TV right here. This is way back from our comfort zone of recording shit and then being able to.
Well,
this is what when
hey.
we used to do this. We get so many more views by doing live. 12 people
Well-
are still watching us fuck up. That's what I'm enjoying.
Well, thank you guys very much. And while we're waiting for everybody to get back in, here's a word from Cuzzo and Overtime Hustling.
What up, y'all? This your boy Cuzzo, host of the Chronicles podcast and also the host of Overtime Reactions. And let me tell y'all something, man. Y'all make sure to go check out Yankee and the Brit Sports Talk. Them guys are knowledgeable. They have good content. Go support them, man. Go check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and definitely tune in to MMA Underground Weekly, man, where they have guests, great commentary, let you know about upcoming events, promotional material, all that, man. Go check them out. Yankee and the Brit, what up? Salute from your boy Cuzzo. Holla.
Yeah.
Are we back to live?
We're live.
Cuzzo,
Because they've fixed everything.
There we go.
Thank you, OTH, for fixing everything. If you're still there.
Shout out Overtime Hustling and Cuzzo.
Cuzzo killing it.
What a guy. Yeah, that was
Perfect.
handy. Well done. Appreciate it.
Very
Right.
nice.
Right.
Thank you.
Back to Thailand. That's where we
There we
ended.
go. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. You as well.
All right.
What was I saying? How I got out there?
Yeah, how you ended up in Thailand and how that was.
Yeah. Long story short is I ended up out there because I always had it in my mind, in my love, in my heart to get out there and train, and I've been training kickboxing since I was young, or not too young, actually. I started when I was in the Army. Yeah, I started in the Army. You asked about childhood. How far do you want to go back here?
Hey,
Just
it's your world.
how did we end up in Thailand? What was the opportunity that took you out there? What was
The
going
opportunity, that's a good question. The opportunity, I almost died on my way to work. I was driving to work at 4:30 and slipped on some black ice and was head face to face with a semi truck. And I thought I was going to die. And the only thing that was in my head was Thailand. I didn't picture everything life flashing before your eyes or whatever the hell. I didn't picture any of that, honestly. The only thing that went in my head was that experience. I was literally picturing Kickboxer movie, and it was so strange to me. And then 5 seconds later, the semi switched lanes for no reason because I was on a blind turn, right? Like he should have hit me there's no possible way he saw me. And it was frozen outside, right? Like I should have got knocked right into oblivion. But he switched lanes very last second, and I was alive. So I literally bought a ticket to Thailand that day and left in 2 weeks, or left 2 weeks later. Told my boss at the time that I got to see a guy about a horse.
What got you into fighting? How old were you when you decided you were going to be a fighter?
Oh, I mean, I was watching Stone Cold Steve Austin whoop that ass my whole life, right? So Ultimate Warrior and all that kind of stuff. I was always into wrestling and whatnot, and I was a fat ass little kid that got bullied on. I was never allowed myself to be a victim because we grew up in a tough neighborhood. I'm from Sacramento, so it's like we didn't. It wasn't bullying like just sit there and let somebody fuck with you. So, but I was just in fights constantly, my whole life. And then I got into wrestling in middle school, and the coach was a prick that just tried to assault me basically all the time. So it just gave me a bad taste in my mouth for coaching and for sports and that kind of shit. So I pretty much stopped playing sports by the time I got to high school and just started hurting everybody as much as I could, which wasn't a lot. I was 5 foot tall and fat, but I tried, I tried to hurt everybody as much as I could,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So just got into quite a bit of fights and whatnot, and dropped out of school junior year. Shit happens, and came back senior year, 5'10" and a lot less fat and ready to get some pegs on my board for all those bullies. So I got quite a bit of payback. And Sacramento is very different than like a place like Olympia or that's why it's interesting having like a street beefs name out in Washington, right? Because what do you mean, right? It's pretty funny. There's not, right? It's not. I mean, no disrespect to the people that really deal with it in Tacoma areas and Kent and whatnot. Like that shit's very legit. But most of this state doesn't understand, like literally has no comprehension of what those people are going through every day. You know what I mean? It's just a very, very different level of energy on the streets, right? Like I could walk down Olympia streets and just pretty much say whatever I want to anybody and have very little. And I'm not a big, scary, tough looking. I'm not a big guy. I'm walking down the streets, you know. What? You know what I mean? Like, like that's not me. But it's like there's almost no chance that anybody really says anything back. You know, like most people are just going to ignore it and keep going, or just like be like, "What the hell?" and keep it going and keep it moving, right? But it's whereas like in a place like Sacramento, or like I haven't spent any time on the running around. I was already grown up before I moved up here, so like I haven't spent any time messing around in Tacoma. But in these busier cities, right, that have more activity on the street, it's like you can accidentally get into fights all the time. If you try to look for a fight, then it's just there's one there for you every day, twice a day if you like. So you can get as much experience. You get as much experience as you want. Yeah. So anyways, that was my life for a few years until I was bored on a Friday afternoon and decided to join the Army.
Wow. Is there a specific reason why you chose like Olympia, Washington to have training for Warriors?
Yeah, for sure. My family was up here is why I moved up here to begin with. My brother came up here with his nieces and nephews, and I wanted to hang out with them. But the reason why I chose this specific area, I'm in Lacey actually, is because Lacey is way more diverse and cultural, and it has much more. It just feels like there's way more character on the Lacey side than the Olympia side. I use the Olympia name because it's the capital city, and it's the same thing, pretty much. But it's the same. It's like the same pretty much thing. It's like Lakewood and Tacoma. Like nobody knows the difference unless you live there.
Right. Right. The Olympics go the same thing.
Yeah, and I'd rather train Olympians than Laceyans. Like, what does that mean? Pretty much, right?
That was good.
Were you about to say something, Manny?
Go for it, man. Oh yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say I'm kind of interested to see in terms of that what you're talking about in terms of the streets and how street beefs in Washington's a bit weird. I'm interested to see where Street Beefs UK is going to go with that kind of stuff. Because when you guys think UK, you think me saying cheerio at the end of
No, we think knife fights, Maddie.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like
Green Street hooligans.
I think it's going to be much different than that, right?
Yeah,
because
100%.
On the outside, people might think UK, prim and proper and thumbs up and the queen, like what the hell? But I mean, yeah, exactly what you said. Because there's no guns, it's been a lot more violent. Like I met so many Europeans and specifically English people when I was in Thailand, and like these guys, the stories about getting bottled and all shit is just crazy. It's like it's like a weekly thing. It's just as normal. It's just as normal as we pull guns out on each other at a nightclub every single weekend. Well, hey, he's getting his face smashed with a bottle, every single weekend. Like that's just what's happening. Like a couple of my dudes had like big old scars on their necks and across their eyeballs. I'm like, holy shit, dude! Like you're trying to kill them with a bottle.
Yeah, I got sparked out in a nightclub in the UK, not in just a town in the UK, not even anywhere big. Right. Just like knocked clean out for disagreeing with somebody about Brexit. That's all it takes to get bottled in the UK. What? That is literally it. That's all that shit takes. Like honestly,
drunken stories by Maddie.
Honestly, just like clean.
And that's how it is. And that's how it is now too. Especially again in an area that's so politically, hot, like a Washington is. People are just so sensitive over every single thing. You forget that your emotions don't matter. Right. You know what I mean? Like how you feel is literally irrelevant to how you need to behave as a person in society.
Exactly.
Right? What are you talking about here? How is there any sort of leniency towards somebody that can't control their emotions like a grown-up? It doesn't make any sense. We have places for people that think their emotions are excuses to do whatever you want, and it's literally called a mental hospital.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you can't do whatever you want. Yeah,
I was gonna say prison, but that might just be some like.
There you go.
You're just
that yes. Right, exactly. Yeah, it's just very different. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to handle yourself. But yeah, and I don't mean any disrespect, obviously, to the Street Beefs branch out here. It's just the vibe because there's, like Steve says, like Steve has created such a great culture of like that family vibe, you know? So it's not, whereas if you're trying to do this in gang-ridden areas, that's why it was street beefs for 15 years, you know what I mean? Up by itself.
Yeah.
And then when Steve started doing his own thing, now it's expanding into this bigger thing, and it's no longer street beefs trying to fight gang violence. Now it's fun people trying to get a backyard fighting experience with no training. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. So it's like it's for the art is for people that are young and inexperienced to go figure some stuff out about themselves, and it's for OGs that haven't exhausted that hunger out of them to go release it as well. And in the middle, you'll have some people that just need to vent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. You know, people use it as a stepping stone to go to the next level. And I didn't want to believe it at first, but there's a lot of people that just one fight, in and out, no experience. I'll mess somebody up. I'll come fight whoever. Come, lose, they get embarrassed, don't come out ever again.
Yep. Or even at the same time, if you win, you know, like again, it's some people. I've talked to some people out at the art about this too. It's fun, you know, like men are this. I can't remember where this came out, like 10 years ago or something. I saw this. Men are like 4,000% more confident in their skills than they should be, right? Like they're 4,000% less effective in a fight than they think they are. That kind of thing, you know. But that's what something like the scrapyard is there to do. It's to let people challenge themselves and experience that. It's to let. That's why like a guy like Scotty is such a great dude to have out there, because, you know, even with that fight with Viking, like that was clear. Like he dominated so many guys after another. Bigger threats, right? Started off with people that can't fight and aren't athletic, moved on to people that can fight a little bit, moved on to people that are pretty athletic and strong. You know what I mean? Like he fought every layer of challenge. That's why him and Dre is going to be, we'll get into that later, but that's going to be so fun. You know, it's a really fun fight. And both guys are just, it's such positive vibes from everything now too, because right before the Viking fight and whatnot, there was a little bit of tension that was allowed to be there. But what I'm saying is the reason why that was there is because someone young and hungry like Scotty that had never been in a gym before, you know, you don't know what you don't know. You know, if you're sparking people on the streets, then of course you think you can go walk into a boxing gym and beat up Mayweather. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, you genuinely don't understand that there's real levels to the game. You know, Viking's been fighting and training for 15 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there's no chance that a lot of people can beat him. It's just not going to work. I mean, he boxes, so there's always a puncher's chance, you know? But like, if you get a grappler in there, there's zero chance that anybody's going to be able to beat a grappler that has 15 years experience. That's why Fire Chicken has no interest, and I'm not speaking for him, you know, but I understand, because he's been in it for so long, why he's not out there hungry to do MMA in his own scrapyard, because it's not interesting to him, you know? Yeah. Like he's an older guy, not older. He's older. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. He's been training for 15 plus years. Do you know what I mean? He has a lot of experience grappling, a lot of experience in jiu-jitsu, a lot of experience boxing, and he can fight good people, not so good people, threatening people, not so threatening people. He can fight a huge range of people in boxing because he's so good at it. There's only one threat. But if he was doing MMA in the scrapyard, he would either be just beating up a bunch of people that he's way better than, or he'd be fighting young, hungry savages, you know, that are really trying to hurt him and really able to hurt him. And either way, he's like, what the hell, guys? I'm 37 years old. Like he already did this stuff 15 years ago in his life, right? Yeah. So there's no reason to do it right now. There's no passion for it. It's just, you know what I mean? And he understands that there's levels, and he understands how real it is. So he's not going to take advantage of it, or he's not going to treat it like a game and not train. You know what I'm saying? If he's going to go fight T or Jay Gotham, right? Like he's not a guy that thinks this is a joke. You know, he loves this game. He loves combat. He loves, this whole thing. That's why he designed the scrapyard, and that's why he brought it out, you know?
Coach, so I got a question for you about the You're Ugly fight. That's what I call the Scotty Showtime Viking Warrior fight, the You're Ugly fight.
Okay.
So when Viking Warrior took that shot and that recovery, that impressed me more than anything I've seen Viking Warrior do with his skills, because you can't teach that, right? That's just you either got it or you don't.
Absolutely, yep. And as a coach, man, that was not devastating, but it hit me on a couple of different levels. First, it felt way longer than he was actually down, right? He was down for a blink and started getting right back up. When that happened right in front of my face, it felt like he was down for 30 seconds. I thought they were going to stop the fight, you know? I was like, what the hell? No, give him a chance. Wait a minute. He's not out yet. You know, like your mind everything's going in such slow motion, you know? But absolutely. And a lot of that goes to his recovery. Like his recovery, I mean, all of it is his recovery, but his cardiovascular conditioning is through the roof. For the last year, you know, Viking has been taking himself completely seriously, you know, as an athlete and as a man, you know what I mean? And it has shown in the scrapyard and to the world, right? He's been consistently dominant. He's the only one. Am I crazy right now? No, the only one that's been consistently dominant the whole time out there. And that's not an accident. Like, of course, his 15 years experience has everything to do with that. But literally 2 years ago, he wouldn't have been undefeated for a year. Right, he has taken himself to a totally new level. He's dedicated himself to his conditioning. He's dedicated himself to just certain things that to being a leader. You know, like he definitely makes it clear what you need to do to continuously win out there. You know, and it's not make excuses; it's work. Right, it's as simple as that. Right, and tactically as well. Tactically was fun to talk about with somebody like T because he's so experienced. It was very clear for him to understand after we broke it down. Scotty did that very intelligently. I don't know if he did it on purpose, right? And not saying he's not diligent, but just experience wise, like people don't understand that they're playing games, right? Sometimes when they're playing games, right? If a rookie throws out 2 jabs, they don't know that that's setting up something else, right? They just threw out 2 jabs. You know what I mean? But what Scotty did in that second round is he went out there and he started throwing those little leg kicks, you know, and he's not an experienced kicker. Those kicks wouldn't have affected T at all. What those kicks allowed them both to do was be closer together. So T could have effectively hit him even better. But what that did to his mind was said, oh shit, Scotty's already trying to take me down. And now he's trying to kick my legs. So I got to kick him back, you know? And the second T started playing Scotty's game instead of understanding that, hey, I'm the veteran here. You have to fight like me because I'm the only one that knows how to dictate the fight. You know what I mean? But he didn't do that. He just made that one little mistake of letting Scotty dictate that one moment. And Scotty was just, bam, just explosive enough to take advantage of it and almost get that knockout, you know? And then again, it went in slow motion and Viking climbed right up that wall. And then from that moment, it was, the writing was on the wall, you know? That's why Scotty decided to stop the fight at that time, you know?
Yeah, I like when people do big shots and I just hear you. That's what we're trained for. That's what we're here for. We're not here to play. That's what we're practicing. Like,
exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like again, like that's why I don't like fighting. And again, no disrespect, but we try to find challenges. You know what I mean? Like we're not here to killer sharks trying to just go find guppies and get wins on YouTube. You know, it's like we're trying to find the best challenges possible. That's why Meek and Panda Man was such a great fight. You know, love that fight. You know,
you train fighters, you don't train bullies.
Yeah, exactly. You know, 100%.
You seem to embrace though your fighters fighting in street beefs and getting the experience where there is some gyms and coaches who won't let their fighters fight in it.
Yes, exactly. You're completely right, and that's just because it's good. It's just a more good experience. You know what I mean? And there's a big gray area of what's, you know, sanctioned and what's real amateur, what's not real amateur. To make it very clear, the Washington State doesn't have an official sanctioning governing body for anything outside of professional combat sports. So anytime you get into a fist fight with somebody else and there's a hand raised, that's a real fight.
Good to know. I knew we were
planning on moving up.
Combat states.
What was that?
I know that we were just one of the 2 mutual combat states. So that's cool.
Exactly. And that's why it's legal to do without like an event permit and all that kind of stuff, is because it's on Steve's property. Oh, sorry about that shit. Oh, my bad, Bar Chicken. But anyways, he's doing everything right. There's nothing illegal anyways. It's a mutual combatant state. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing anybody to do. We're all fully grown adults that sign waivers. Like everything's completely above board, you know?
I don't think you let the chicken out of the bag anyway. I think everybody already knew that, so I don't think you have to worry.
I know it's been going on for 2 years, right? I don't think I'm the first one to share where it was.
Right, yeah.
Well, you guys got any more questions before we take up his whole day? Because he is a coach. So if you guys got some questions, get them in there, and then we'll.
I have one question for sure. I'm really curious because being a coach, I feel like with adults, a lot of times you have to deprogram before you teach them. But with the kid having a mind ready to mold, which I'm sure Maddie understands, having children being able to educate them and help them grow, is it easier to coach younger people and children versus adults?
It's always easier to teach kids because they are not jaded by failed experiences in life. You know, that's the same reason why your 4-year-old can wake up and just be, whoa, what's going on right now at 5 a.m. sometimes, you know, because they're where you're like, oh my God, snooze button, right? What you don't like being alive today? Or why are you acting like that in the morning?
Right.
Oh, it's because you taught yourself subconsciously that today's probably just going to be a fucking day. You know, I just got to go to work. I got to, you know, feed myself. You know what I mean? That's what you teach yourself. So we're allowed to then behave as if we have low expectations for ourselves every day. You know, like find someone in your circle of your life that you respect and you would consider more successful than you, and just ask them genuinely about their day, or wonder to yourself or ask yourself, have they ever talked to me about how busy they are? Has anybody more successful in my personal life ever told me how busy their day was? Or are they just too busy being more successful to talk about that? You know, they're too busy doing shit. They're too busy getting things done. But all we regular folks, you know, can latch onto is the, I don't want to say victim mentality because that's overused these days, even though it's very real and very gross. Don't act like that. There's real victims in the world, you know. But just really knowing that it's your choice, you know, get up and get after it. You know what I mean? That snooze button mentality is nothing but dangerous, right? You can just as easy to press the snooze button as it is to get up out of bed right away. As soon as your eyes open, get up. Something that really helped me with that. And one of my good friends, Jay Perugia, Coach Jay Perugia said, was pick a song for your alarm clock. Pick a good song for your alarm clock. Not just a beat, not a noise. Definitely not like a tornado's coming, you know? Like, get all that out of there. Pick what I had for a long time was The World's Greatest from R. Kelly.
Oh, okay.
You know? Like, that's the song that comes on when you wake up. The first thing you think about yourself isn't, oh my God, it's another day. You're thinking, I'm fucking phenomenal. Let's go. I'm about to go show the whole world how great they can be because I'm going to just act great the whole day. You know? And just setting that tone right there just allows everything else just to come full circle and just set you up for the rest of it. Right. So I don't know how we got off of that from kids, but it's definitely easier to teach the kids again because they don't need that already. You know, they get up like it's Christmas every day, and we can do that too. We just have to choose, right? Coach Martin taught me a long time ago, every day is day one, right? Do you hit the snooze button when you're starting your first day at a new job?
Nope.
Do you have your clothes prepared the night before, or do you wake up scrambling to see what you're going to wear?
Yeah.
Right. Hell yeah.
Right? Or do you already have your lunch packed? Is your lunch already packed? You know? Did you already change the agenda and make sure your friends and your family knew that you're going to be busy at these times because you got to do something important to do? Right? So we don't need to, you know, oh, I got to change who I am as an entire person to be able to do this. No, we just have to give a fuck again. Every day is day one. Every day of your life is day one. But I don't know who else is a dad, but you guys are parents. Every day can feel, if you choose it to be, every day you can wake up feeling, fuck yes, I get to be a parent today. Yes. Or, oh my God, he's jumping on my chest again to wake me up. Little shithead. I just want another 30 minutes of sleep. You know, you can decide. And I'm not saying moral or immoral one way or the other, good parent or bad parent. I'm just saying you have the choice.
Right.
I'm so
we all got that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think
man, that's a killer, man. I love you on this show, man. You killing it.
But he's disappeared. I think it's that, like, it's not necessarily that young mindset as well. I think it's that blank slate. So when I get year 9 and I'm teaching them about the Second World War, I'd much rather have the kids who know fuck all about the Second World War than have the ones who know, like, who think that they know everything already, because then you're able to build up like their pathways to learning rather than them talking to you and saying, oh, but I know this already. So, and it's like, yeah, but you don't know it from
absolutely
oppression, like you don't know it. You think you know it. You don't necessarily 100% know it. So I don't know whether it's this thing of old or young. I think the attitude to learning is definitely an old or young thing, but I think the attitude, like, you'd want a blank slate rather than, like, you see it all the time in sport. These who were absolutely class 5 years ago and then haven't played their sport in 5 years, and they come back thinking that they're still the shit.
Yes.
Breaking down again and building back up. Like, I think it's that blank slate rather than that old one.
Exactly. And if I could say something to that point, what you're talking about is what I call compulsory, right? Compulsory that's the prerequisite, right? You have to have what you're having. That's the ticket to get in the door. That's called coachability. You know, if you're not even willing to understand that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, or that you're not willing to understand that you have big holes that we're here to help you fill, then there's no one that can help you anyways. You know, so I love what you're saying right there, because you're dead on. And that's literally, I talk to my athletes and fighters about that every single week, that is the most important ability. And for anybody listening, remember this, write it down twice. Coachability is the most important thing the most important ability any athlete can possibly have. You know, we teach this to your young kids, especially as well. We've got a young kid that we work with, Viking and whatnot, that's about 10 years old. He's a big, strong football player with an attitude problem. And I'm trying to explain to him, like, hey, my man, I don't care what you are. We know a lot of the high school coaches around here. You're not going to get on the team because you don't listen. Then that's the bottom line. You know, if you don't understand that you're not the one that knows how to do this, and as a man, that's hard to take for some people. To your point, yeah, if you walk through the door at 30 years old, you're going to have all sorts of thoughts that you think are okay, you know, that kind of stuff, right? Or like Crazy Legs, you know what I mean? Like that guy's fun to work with, because he always thinks he needs the next thing. You know, and the way he's developed so great for the last 8 or 9 months now is because he's just we've been focused on the fundamentals. You know, he's gotten better defense and better hand-eye coordination and better footwork, and now he's going to start doing all the fancy spinning shit that he wants to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Before, if he tried all the spinning shit before those fundamentals were locked in, he's going to get knocked out because he doesn't have the defensive awareness to be in the right position after doing some fun spinning shit. You know. So teaching him, hey, let's get you so comfortable being in a fight that you could throw stuff and not have to worry, you know. And that's where, again, jumping back to Thailand, Lordzilla, I was so grateful. I didn't even know who he was at the time. Lordzilla was one of my coaches out there the whole time I was there, and this guy is the Mayweather of Muay Thai. They call him the Matrix of Muay Thai as well. He's phenomenal. If you've never seen this man, Lordzilla, Lerdsilla, you will not regret looking up his highlight reel. He's absolutely one of the top 4 strikers in the last 25 years, bar none. Yeah.
Well,
and
Coach,
sorry, Jay. I was just going to say one awesome way to bring it full circle. I mean, I didn't expect to start with relationship advice in the Oscars from a coach today, and then go to Thailand and then talk about teachability and the stuff that I'm genuinely going to take into my classroom and stuff tomorrow. This idea of wake up and see every day as day one. I'm going to get the kids to do that. What an amazing
I like it.
That's been awesome. Thank you so much.
Day one. Thank you so much for your time. Sorry, I was running a little bit behind today.
No worries, but let people know where they can find out more about your gym, because I'm sure there's going to be a couple people who see this want to learn more.
Hey, we're in Lacey, Washington. You can look up TFW Olympia and jump on the information about that. I don't have the combat training on the website because we're a select team. You know, like I said, you can't just pay me and come here and hang out with Viking and whatnot. It's no egos, only dedication. So I definitely pick and choose, especially like with a fight type of ego, it's very different personality, and it only takes one apple to spoil the bunch, right? So just make sure that you're ready to just have an open mind and work hard. You know, it's good stuff like that. If you want to just come here and challenge yourself and fight our guys and see how tough you are, we're down to do that too. Just let me know first. Because if you show up, because if you show up wanting to do that under the guise of wanting to train here, that's how people get hurt, you know? And we're not going to be doing that, right? If you come in here like you want to train with Viking and you're trying to take his head off, it's not going to end well.
Right.
So, but if you come here trying to do one or the other, just let us know right away so we can just, you know, fix it and move on. You know what I mean? That kind of good stuff. So that keeps it interesting. If you're not from the Olympia area, then there's all sorts of good places that I can recommend. You mind me dropping a couple of other gyms that I love around? Perfect. There's going to be Tacoma, is South Sound Martial Arts, is Muay Thai. It's in the soccer stadium. So if you're a striker only, they have a South Sound Martial Arts, is some good Muay Thai. My boy Micah Brown just opened up a phenomenal performance center, Wave Combat, also in Tacoma. That's going to be for Muay Thai. He's a world-class Muay Thai coach, and there's also going to be high-level jiu-jitsu there, and they have strength and conditioning and that kind of good stuff too, all built into the one spot. Turtles Place, Tacoma Boxing Club, and 7th Street Boxing. Yep, 7th Street Boxing with Marquise and Rami. They're phenomenal coaches and athletes themselves. I think they just changed that name from 7th Street to Royal Boxing Club.
Oh,
so Royal Boxing Club. Check that out.
Love that, guys.
No. Yeah, you're good to go. So those are all phenomenal in that whole area. Anybody that's on Fort Lewis, if you buddy up to some of the first group guys, the Thor Training Center is absolutely one of the most world-class facilities you can get in the country. Thor Training Center, that's going to be on JBLM. Those guys are savages. So it just keeps it interesting. Logic Jiu-Jitsu in Tacoma is phenomenal. Jiu-Jitsu spot in Olympia is Alliance Jiu-Jitsu across the street is really good. BJJ of Olympia. So there's some good places, guys. I would just recommend getting into it, right? If you're in the Oregon area, go train at Hummingbird Spot. Portland has an American Top Team. They're really good. The point is just find a good coach. Find a coach. Hey, these days, you guys don't have to make shit up. You have YouTube teaching you everything. So you just have to really watch some Inky Johnson videos, right? Watch some Dr. Eric Thomas videos, and then just get up and get after it.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Coach. I loved talking to you. You're welcome back anytime, and thank you again.
I appreciate you guys.
Coach Thomas.
Thank you.
Wow,
What-
he's an electric personality, isn't he? You and Coach T, Buddy V, have some of the most electric personalities in Washington. I guarantee it.
I'll take that. I like that. He's a cool ass dude. Hell yeah.
That was awesome. That was great. And also, Jay, when we started this, like, what is it, over a year ago? Coming up on a year? Over a year ago?
I think we're over a year. You know, we're over
Just
a
a
year
little.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the playoffs, wasn't it? That was a year. Anyway, over a year ago, did you ever think that we'd be giving relationship advice in terms of toxic relationships and that kind of shit?
I always say when people laugh at me, I've been with my wife for over 20 years. I don't know shit about relationships except mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what works for me
Yeah.
ain't necessarily going to work for you because I got the perfect woman to deal with my madness. You know, so
Right. I got a good woman, so I can live vicariously through all my friends with all their toxic relationships and understand why I know what to appreciate what I have.
right.
Yeah.
So I know
Cynthia's
we've been
also
going
great.
a little long today, but I got to talk about something before we get to Buddy V's. Is
Yeah.
Solo not one of the most entertaining people in the scrapyard to watch? Dude had his hands down, and I love him on social media too. Backhanding, the way he kicked dude's leg out from underneath him, the Red Goat, and shout out to the Red Goat. But that was the most entertaining fight probably I saw in the last couple days.
Oh, that one was phenomenal to watch in person too. You can hear it through the video, but when live, the crowd is just everybody. Oh! I heard people jumping on the cage. I saw some people jumping over other shoulders to see it. They're like, "Oh man!" I was like, "Damn!" Now he's an entertaining fighter. That was probably one of the best fights of the day, in my opinion. I mean, there's great fights, a lot of finishes for different stuff, but entertainment factor, that was definitely probably one.
It's how Solo fights with his hands down. He don't give a shit. You hit him, he just smiles and like dances around. And then when he took a kick, caught it, and then and it was an outside sweep to the leg, which looked like it hurt the knee because my knee hurt from watching it. And then Red Goat looked like he got the wind knocked out of him, but I couldn't tell because of the angle of the video.
It took a minute to recover. That was a brutal hit. That was fun though. I was like, damn. Man, did you guys hear about this? Is crazy. Did you ever hear about that dude Melvin Manhoef or whatever that lives like not too far out of Amsterdam? What he did recently?
No, go for it.
Yeah, so he's like a Bellator fighter and all that, and somebody was casing his house, and they told him, which is just crazy with all these MMA fighters getting in trouble and stuff because he's in trouble right now. So these people are casing his house. He waits outside, notices the people going in to rob his house. He has his wife and kids in there, sees them, chases them down. They're in a four-wheeled vehicle, not a motorcycle or anything. He chases them down the street until they end up fucking crashing in a car. He tells the dude to roll his window down. The second it leaves his mouth, he bashes the guy's window open with his fist, pulls him to the driver's seat, unlocks the door, and pulls the other guy out. Then the rest of them in the car get out on their hands and knees and say, please don't. And it was like the citizens' arrest and stuff. People were outside helping. They called the cops. But because of how he went about his stuff, he might be facing charges. But he's like, my wife and kids are in there. Then what? They would have gone, tied me up, and did who knows what with them? Like, no, I don't think so. He's like, I have no sympathy for them or anything.
No matter what happens in the court case, nobody's fucking with that dude's house again.
I don't think the Dutch are that on it about that kind of shit. I think they'll be fine. I'm pretty sure they've got. Do they have they have some pretty loose laws on a lot of things. So I think beating the shit out of somebody because they're trying to rob your house might be okay. Maybe he'll just pay the dude whose car they crashed into and.
Well, after chasing him down, they got scared. The driver of the car ran into a telephone pole or something. He ran into a full pole.
Oh, just a telephone pole. Oh, I thought he crashed into another fucking car. Oh, I think he'll be fine. I think he might be okay in that one. The judge must be shit scared to sentence him anyway if he did.
Well, everybody who is still watching, because we're going late today and we started late, I really appreciate you. And it's time for everybody's favorite segment of the week.
Buddy V's Fighters to Watch.
So I like to switch it up. Sometimes I pick one fighter, sometimes I pick multiple. There was the one where I picked Karate Gandalf, Mad Dog, Brickhouse, and the Yondan. This time it's a West Coast group, the Inland Empire. I like them because we have a few different groups in the West Coast, but these guys have some straight killers. You have Darkness. We brought up El Coyote earlier. I know they have Big Daddy William, Mook. I think they might have 619 on there and like 300. I can't remember a couple other people, but I mean, they train hard. And I mean, when they come out, they're really putting in work. I mean, Inland Empire, 50-50 MMA, Elevated Mindset Combatives. I mean, they're producing great people, but Inland Empire is my fighters to watch, quote unquote. Because, when you see these people train as groups, they really push the envelope for each other. And I think that we might start seeing a whole nother level of fighters start to emerge from that, especially because I know they're talking about becoming a lot more serious as summer's coming up. And I just think we're going to start seeing a handful of wins from people. And I think Mook's already, he might be going pro eventually because he just kills it. So those are my fighters to watch.
No, and again, thank you guys, because this whole show started with me fucking up the intro. We had some connection issues. And I still think it turned out to one of our better shows because Coach TC was so much fun to talk to.
That's one of the best interviews we've ever had since we started this up. He was great. He was awesome. Really good.
It's lots of fun. He's like, woo!
All right, buddy. Let everybody know what you got going on with your brand.
First, shout out to Overtime Hustling Magazine. I have a feature that just came out. I've only put it on my social media once or twice because I was waiting for the Yankee in the Brick because I'm about to start spamming all my accounts with everything. Yankee in the Brick, Overtime Hustling. You guys are about to see so much where you're going to get tired. So shout out to Overtime Hustling. Shout out to Yankee in the Brick because this show is fucking awesome. And shout out to Zwell, my brand, because it's Zwell, whatever the fuck you want.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I didn't get to fight last time. I'm going to be fighting this month, taking my training to a whole nother level. You're going to see me in competitions. You're going to see Zwell really grow. My YouTube channel my series is all complete. It's going to start releasing here in probably another week, where I interview all sorts of local people. And it's not a podcast. It's just a little interview. It's something that I do for fun. But it's because you can do whatever you want.
And I ain't giving anything away. But you guys stay tuned. Buddy's got some big news for you guys coming up in the next month or so. So just stay tuned. There's some big things coming. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.